Hello everyone, welcome to Tech of the Day. Today again we're gonna discuss AZ-900 Azure Fundamentals certification. We have already covered Module 1, Understand Cloud Concepts, Module 2, Understand Core Azure Services, and also Module 3, Understand Security, Privacy, Compliance, and Trust Center. So if you haven't watched these videos, please go and watch them. Now we're going to talk about Module 4, Understand Azure Pricing and Support, which covers around 25 to 30% of the exam. Uh, these modules are not dependent on each other, so you can watch any video and yeah, so you can watch these videos later on as well. And after this module, I will be presenting another module 5, which is not really from the exam perspective, but this video will be mostly like some summary of all the modules which you can watch before going to the exam. So this will contain most important things actually. So let's continue on the module 4, understand Azure pricing and support. This module is uh, not that difficult, but we don't pass it with good marks because we don't focus on it. The questions are more related to pricing and support, so we don't care about it as a developer. But to pass Azure 900, we should care about it because this is the one module where everyone scores really less. So please focus on that. Yeah, let's go. So if you haven't come across me, I am Nitesh Sharma, senior consultant at Deloitte, 6 years of experience in .NET and trying to get some Azure certifications. We have already talked about this. And these are the previous modules we have talked about. If you haven't watched previous videos, please watch them after this video. These videos are, as I said, not interdependent, so you can watch anyone anytime. Yeah. Predict costs and optimize spending for Azure. In this module, we will learn about different options you have to purchase Azure services, estimate cost with Azure Pricing Calculator, predict and optimize costs with Azure Cost Management and Azure Advisor, apply best practices for saving on infrastructure costs, apply best practices for saving on licensing costs. Let's go one by one. So, purchase Azure products and services. Product and services in Azure are arranged by category, which has various resources that you can provision. You select the Azure product and services that fit your requirements, and your account is billed according to Azure's pay for what you use model. And these things depends on your user's meter. When you provision an Azure resource, Azure creates one or more meter instances for the resource. The meter track the resources users and generate a user's record that is used to calculate your bill. Pay attention to this because you will have question in your exam related to pricing. Uh, which factors uh, can change your pricing? How your pricing is calculated on what uh, basis? That one is second question, which factors, but this is the first one, which on what your pricing depends, or how your pricing is calculated. So it depends. For example, a single virtual machine that you provision in Azure might have the following meter trackings in users: compute hours, IP address hours, data transfer in, data transfer out, standard managed disk operations, standard IO disk, standard IO blob read, standard IO blob write, standard IO blob delete. But this is specific to virtual machines. You might have other services which do not require all these things. And there is one more thing to remember here. Deallocating a VM is not the same as deleting a VM. Deallocation means the VM is not assigned to a CPU or networking in a data center. However, your persistent disk remain your persistent disk remain and the resource is present in your subscription. So you still pay for that resource. And what is that resource? Space. It's similar to turning off your physical computer actually. So you are not using the CPU, but you still consuming the space. So you pay for that. So this there might be a question related to that. If you deallocate a VM, do you still pay for something? Then answer is yes, you pay for the space. Let's see what factors affect the cost. Each meter tracks a particular kind of users. For example, a meter might track bandwidth users, ingress or egress, network traffic in bits per second, the number of operations, size, storage capacity in bytes, or similar items. So your cost depends on the following things: services. Azure users rates and billing period can differ between enterprises, web direct, and cloud solution providers customers. Some subscriptions type also include users allowance which affect cost. Your cost is totally dependent on your type of what type of subscription you have and services you are getting. So this thing can affect your cost. Second is location. Azure has data centers all over the world. Azure users cost vary between locations that offer particular Azure products, services, and resources based on popularity, demand, and local infrastructure costs. So your location can play a big role for your cost. Then you have Azure billing zones. Bandwidth refer to data moving in and out of data centers. Most of the time, inbound data transfers, data going into the Azure data centers are free. But for outbound data transfers, data that is going out of Azure data centers, the data transfer pricing is based on billing zones. So you have kind of four zones. First zone is United States, US government, Europe, Canada, UK, France, Switzerland. Second is East Asia, Southeast Asia, Japan, Australia, India, Korea. And third one is Brazil, South Africa, UAE. And the fourth one is a special one for Germany. So these billing zones are special, and your pricing can also be affected which billing zone you are using. Billing zones aren't the same as availability zone. Pay attention to this. In Azure, term zone is for billing purpose only, and the full term availability zone refers to the failure protection that Azure provides for data centers. So I hope you have the clear understanding about availability zones and Azure billing zones. I know it's simple, but sometimes you can be affected. Let's go to the next one. Exercise. We're gonna do one exercise. Estimate costs with the Azure Pricing Calculator. What is Azure Pricing Calculator? So to make estimates easy for customers to create, Microsoft developed the Azure Pricing Calculator. The Azure Pricing Calculator is free web-based tool that allows you to input Azure services and modify properties and options of the services. It outputs the cost per service and total cost of the full estimate. So what you do, you have a web-based Azure pricing calculator, which where you select region, tier, billing options, support options, program and offers, and what type of Azure dev test what what are you using. Then based on that, it can give you the pricing. So you should have hands on this. This is really interesting actually, because this is almost the same type of calculation or what you will pay for your resources you going to use. So please pay attention to this and use it. You can share your share your estimate and export it. So you can share it. You can export it using an URL and in the form of Excel, and you can export it and you can save it under the products. You might have questions related to this in your exam, like which tab of Azure Pricing Calculator which you will you use to put together your estimates. It is products. Then can you share your estimates through Excel spreadsheet or through URL? Then yes. So you might have questions related to this in your exam. So please remember that. Let's go to the next one. Predict and optimize with cost management and Azure Advisor. So this is also an exercise because you should do practical hands on this. So what is Azure Advisor? We have already talked about this in our previous video, but if you haven't watched those videos, I will explain it again. Azure Advisor is free service built into Azure that provides recommendations on high availability, security, performance, and cost. So four things: high availability, security, performance, and cost. Advisor analyzes your deployed services and looks for ways to improve your environment across those four areas, where you can reduce the cost by eliminating unprovisioned Azure Express circuits, buy reserved instances to save money over pay as you go, right size or shut down underutilized virtual machines. So these type of suggestions you might have from Azure Advisor. And if you don't have a subscription, you can create a free account to have that practical hands on this thing. I would suggest you to go in my description and find the link for learnings and do those learnings during those modules. You will see you can create a send account, which will be activated by the sandbox, which will be activated by the Azure, and they will create a resource group for you, learn Microsoft, something like that, and using that you can really have practical hands on this. But for Azure, um, for the for the previous one, Azure Pricing Calculator, you don't need any account. This is free web-based pricing calculator. But for other things, let's say for Azure Advisor, Azure Cost Management, you should have something, and then you will have the suggestions. So I would really suggest you to go to Azure Advisor and see it in practical, how it looks like. I can just tell you it has four things: high availability, security, performance, and cost. Remember, these four things are related to Azure Advisor. You will have questions related to this in your exam. And then you have Azure Cost Management. Azure Cost Management is another free built-in Azure tool that can be used to gain greater insight into where your cloud money is going. So this gives you insights about four things. And Azure Cost Management is basically focused only on cost management, and that is also free. And it gives you insights where are you spending your money, and how it is tracking against budgets that you have set. You can set budgets, schedule reports, and analyze your cost areas. So you simply can set your budget and then track it. You will have a history on that. So that's really good. Um, let's go to the next one. Estimate the total cost of ownership using the Azure TCO calculator. Total cost of ownership. You have this link here to do the practical exercise. We will do it in a while. But what is a pricing calculator and cost manager advisor can help you predict and analyze your spend for now for new or existing services. If you are starting to migrate to cloud, a useful tool you can use to predict your cost savings is total cost of ownership. To use TCO calculator, you just need to go to this link, and then you define your workloads. You can then adjust your assumptions, and then you can view the report. For in the end, you might have this type of explanations, like where your on-premises cost is around this much, and your total Azure cost is reduced to this much. For this is for the obviously for big companies, but for smaller ones, it is not that much. Um, the difference might be not on that ratio. This looks a bit different. But if you want to have a hands-on pricing calculator TCO, let's go there, and then you can start assessment. So what you do, you define your workload, servers, database, what you will need, storage, and what type of networking you need, and what is that, terabyte or gigabyte, and then you go to next one, and then you say, oh, I need this, then you can adjust it and view the report in the end. And I would advise you to do that practically. I think you would like it. Let's go to the next one. How can you save on infrastructure costs? So you have many suggestions, and please remember all this. You will have question in your exam related to this. So what you have as use Azure credits. Visual Studio subscribers can activate a monthly credit benefit that allows you to experiment with, develop, and test new solutions on Azure. You can use Azure credits to try out new services such as App Service, Windows 10 VMs, Azure SQL Server Database, Containers, Cognitive Services, Functions, Data Lake, and more without incurring any monetary costs. So you have this, and this is $50 per month for Visual Studio Professionals and $150 per month for enterprises. The monthly Azure credit for Visual Studio subscriber is for development and testing only, and does not carry a financial backed SLA service level agreement, which we will discuss later on. Azure will suspend any instance, virtual machine, or cloud service that runs continuously for more than 120 hours, or if it's determined that the instance is being used for production. So this is only for testing purpose. Then you have use spending limits. By default, Azure subscriptions that have associated monthly credits, which includes trial account, have a spending limit to ensure you aren't charged once you have used up your credits. This feature is useful for development teams exploring new solutions architectures as it ensures you won't have an unexpectedly large bill at the end of month. So you can use Azure spending limits. And the third one is use reserved instances. If you have virtual machine workload that are static and predictable, particularly ones that run non-stop all year long, using reserved instances is fantastic way to potentially save up to 70 to 80% of the pay-as-you-go cost, depending on your virtual machine size. So what you can do, um, you can have you can save up to 80% in using this if you use the reserved instance. What does this mean actually? This simply means that you commit to reserve instances in 1 year or 3 years term. So if you say, okay, I'm going to use virtual machine for at least 3 years or at least 1 year, that means you create a contract and you pay less charges. That is really cheap. But uh, downside of this is you are promising Azure that you will stay there longer. And that's why they give you a special discount. So yeah. Choose low cost locations and regions. As I said, cost depends on location as well. So you can really choose cheap locations and cheap regions if your solution is not based on location and region. So if your solution does not depend on the location, then you can choose cheap locations, because if you choose cheap location which is far from your customers, that then you will have bad latency. So that is something you need to think about. Then you have right size underutilized virtual machines. When we discuss in the previous discussion about Azure Cost Management and Azure Advisor, they Azure Advisor might recommend right sizing or shutting down VMs. Right sizing a virtual machine is process of resizing it to a proper size. Let's imagine you have a server running as domain controller that is sized as standard D4 size, but your virtual machine is sitting at 90% idle and vast majority of the time. By resizing the virtual machine to lower one, D21, you reduce your compute cost by 50%. So you can choose the right size, or you can shut down the unused virtual machine. So Azure Advisor will give you that advice. You can deallocate virtual machines in off hours. That is also another good feature of Azure, that you can, let's say your users or your employees are not working during night, so you don't need that virtual machine during the night. So you can just fix a time, let's say after 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. till morning 7 a.m. Your virtual machine is shut down. You save a lot of money. It depends on your price, but it can really save you a lot. Then another one is delete unused virtual machines. Similar, we already discussed this. You should delete unused virtual machines. Of course, you are paying for that. That's why you should delete it. And the last one, migrate to PaaS or SaaS services. So you really need to think about it logically. Like, do you really need virtual machines? Can you use containers? Can you use PaaS services to uh, function your applications? So this is really a decision you need to think about. when you do this thing, because yeah, of course, if you can use PaaS service or SaaS service, which are really cheaper than having virtual machines, then why would you use it? Then you also have another option, save on licensing costs. So licensing is another area that can dramatically impact your cloud spending. Let's look some ways to reduce your costs. So first is Azure hybrid benefit for Windows servers. Many customers have invested in Windows servers license and would like to repurpose this investment on Azure. The Azure hybrid benefit gives customers the right to use these licenses for virtual machines on Azure. To be eligible for this benefit, your Windows license must be covered by software assurance, like each 2 processor license or each set of 16 core license is entitled to 2 instances of up to 8 cores or 1 instance of up to 16 cores. So you have different options for to reuse your Windows Server license in Azure with some conditions. Most customers are typically licensed by one core, so you will use that model for your calculation. If you have questions about license, you have to reach out to your license reseller or your Microsoft account team. Then second is Azure Hybrid benefit for SQL Server. Same way, you can also reuse your Azure SQL Server license in Azure. Azure SQL Server database license also you can reuse in Azure. So your price will be really down. And also this depends on per core and what type of license you have. But for details you have to check it. Have practical hands on it. But you won't have questions related to how much cost you will save. You just need to remember you can save some money using Azure Hybrid benefits for SQL Server. Then third one is use dev test subscription offers. So for your development or testing, you should always use this subscription offers. The enterprise dev test and pay as you go dev test offers a benefit you can take advantage of to save costs on your non-production environments. So this is only for testing purpose, but still you can save a lot because this is not production and it is cheaper, so you can really use it. Then fourth one is bring your own server licenses. If you are a customer on enterprise agreement and already have an investment in SQL Server licenses and they have freed up as part of moving resources to Azure, you can provision bring your own license images of the Azure marketplace, giving you the ability to take advantage of these unused licenses and reduce the Azure virtual machine cost. So you bring your own license, you have stopped using it and you just want to use it in Azure, then you can really save on that license cost. Use use SQL Server Developer Edition. Many people are unaware that SQL Server Developer Edition is free product for non-production use. Developer Edition has all the same features that Enterprise Edition has, but for non-production workloads, you can save dramatically on your licensing costs. Look for SQL Server images for Developer Edition on Azure Marketplace and use them for development or testing purpose to eliminate the additional costs in for SQL Server in these cases. Then you have use constraints instance size for database workloads. So if you choose different type of instance sizes. Let's say CPUs, 16 core CPUs, memory 112 GB. That is expensive. Then if you go down a little bit, less CPUs, less memory, that will be cheaper. So you just have to check what you really need. So it depends on on your requirements, depending what you really need actually. So that's the end of this module. Let's see what we have learned. So Azure Advisor provides recommendations for, I said four things: high availability, security, performance, and cost. AZ Direct. Azure Cost Management allows you to see historical breakdown of what services you are spending your money on. Yes. See estimates of what your services might cost you mm, if you make a change. This thing, let's see if we are right. Yes, we are correct. Congratulations. Which one of these is not a cost saving solution? So this is really interesting. Deallocate virtual machines during off-peak hours. Yes, it is a cost-saving solution. Use Azure reserved virtual machines instances. Yes. Load balance your virtual machine for incoming messages. This is really confusing sometimes, but load balancing your virtual machines for incoming messages does not solve your cost issues. So this is not a cost saving solution. This is good solution, but not a cost saving solution. Fast is generally less expensive than IaaS. True. Let's check our answers. Congratulations, we did very well. Let's go to the last answer questions. If you already have Windows Server license, you have to pay for them again on Azure. We were just discussing this. It's false. Azure has money saving options for test and development servers. Yes. Let's check our answers. Correct. So these are the this was the last module for Azure 900. I will be presenting another video which contains all the most important terms actually. So let's say what is Azure Virtual Machine, Azure Virtual Networks, Azure Application Gateway. These are small terms, but you get confused in during your exam because they most of them are little bit different with some specific uses. So you will get confused in your exam. So I'll just present that in that module, and you can watch that video even before your exam, so you have that fresh in your mind. Well, good luck for your exam, and please let me know in comment sections if you have any question or feedback about these videos. Keep continue watching my new videos. I have other series as well. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, and bye.